Welcome to Ringside Report MMA. I am Dave Simon. AJ and Freddie are here, and we're going to preview UFC 252, Daniel Cormier, Stipe Miocic, the trilogy fight for the UFC Heavyweight Championship. It's going down this Saturday night. Boys, we will be watching all together, right? Saturday night. I'm looking forward to it. We'll preview the fights right now, and then Saturday night, 10 p.m. when the pay-per-view starts, be here with us on the YouTube channel and watch the fights with us, see our live reactions and analysis of everything going on. UFC 252, from the first fight on the pay-per-view to the main event of DC and Stipe. We also have Sean O'Malley against Marlon Vera in the co-main event. Jairzinho Rozenstruik taking on Junior Dos Santos, John Dodson, and Marab Dvalishvili, and a bunch of other good fights on this card that we're going to preview here in a bit. But before we get to that, I'll tell you what else is happening in the world of MMA. A couple of Canadians fighting yesterday at CFFC 82. First CFFC I watched, it was CFFC 1 for me. And I watched that yesterday. Saw CM Punk doing commentary. Paige Van Zandt signing with the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Logan Paul is offering anybody $10,000 to beat him in a wrestling match. I know AJ's excited about that. Anytime Logan Paul dips his toes in the combat sports pool, AJ gets real excited. I'm sure AJ would like to wrestle Logan Paul. But
I was just about to say that.
Well, you might be the better wrestler out of the three of us, Dave.
Me? Oh, I think AJ.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm all
I'll
right.
smash him for $10,000. I'm gonna do it.
Well,
We're
I'll
gonna sign
smash
up.
him, but Dave might be the best wrestler.
Oh, I like that.
I trained with Tim Wadsworth. I don't know, man. Well, sort of Dave too.
I trained with the Zilberman.
Well, yeah, I did for a little bit. But listen,
Matt,
I wanted to say
checkmate, AJ, checkmate, brother. So before we get to all that stuff, we'll get
we'll
get to Logan Paul. I know you're excited, but we got to get to the most important thing here. That's Stipe and DC. That's the fight I want to talk about. That's the fight that I'm excited about. That's the fight I want to see. It's actually got me hyped. You know, I don't get super excited for UFC main events like I used to, but this one, it feels like a big one. I know there's going to be no crowd. It's going to be weird, but the first two fights between DC and Stipe were so great, so action-packed. Two of the best heavyweight fights you'll see, especially their second one. What a fight that was. I watched it again like a couple hours ago, preparing for the show. Such a great fight. I'm so excited to see the trilogy. And it's one of those fights where I don't know. I don't know who's going to win. I have no idea. You know, for a long time I was thinking DC, but then I watched the fight again, and now I'm thinking Stipe. The fight was a year ago. The fight was a year ago. Stipe won. And watching the fight again, it didn't feel as close as it did the first time. I felt like Stipe probably won the second round. He probably won the third round. Came on really strong in the third. And then the fourth, that's where he put it on DC and finished him. It was a really impressive performance from Stipe. And I think, you know, the first round went DC's way in a major way. Like, DC put it on him, took him down, beat him up, put him in positions where it looked like, okay, maybe it's over. You know, he picked him up, did that big Daniel Cormier slam. That was all in the first round, and that was really impressive. And that was maybe the most dominant of any of the rounds. But if you look at round 2 and 3 and then 4, you see that Stipe was finding his way. He was chipping away at Daniel Cormier. Cormier took a lot of punishment, as did Stipe, but this is a tough one. This is a tough one. Fred, what do you think? I know AJ's upset, but I'm going to let Fred go first.
Well, I'm a little upset also, but I feel like you should have told us this before so I could have watched it, because my memory of that fight is that DC pretty much handled the first 3 rounds, and then Stipe rocked him, and it changed the whole fight, because I got the stats in front of me. Cormier outstruck Stipe in all of the 3 first rounds. In round 3, it was 57-34. So to me, my memory was like Cormier was up 3 rounds to nothing, and then Stipe, who's always dangerous, caught him, and it changed the fight. And to me, that's what's gonna be intriguing, because I've read that DC, he wants to wrestle with Stipe, but at the same time, I think DC, if you look in the two fights, he's had success standing up with Stipe. So I feel like maybe DC should want to stay standing up with Stipe and just stay away from that power shot. That's the biggest difference. Like in their two fights, that power shot is what made a difference in the fight. So if Cormier could stay away from that, I got Cormier. I'm a big Cormier fan, and I just think like he was handling Stipe in that second fight. It changed. Stipe rocked him. Props to him, but I think Cormier is the better fighter. I can't wait for this. This is a good one.
Look, Dave, I'm going to tell you something. I totally agree with Freddie. He had the first 3 rounds in their second fight. Let's not forget their first fight. It was an uppercut that took Miocic down. I mean, Cormier's got like the Tyson body. He walks in. He loves to be in that pocket. It's a real telephone booth fight. But once he gets on the inside and he unleashes his power, you're going to sleep. And they're both amazing strikers. That's the thing with Cormier. He needs to get on the inside. There's 2 factors here that are the big difference in the last 2 fights. One, this fight that's coming up on Saturday is in a smaller ring. It's going to be a lot harder to keep that distance away from Cormier. Miocic is going to have a hard time because Cormier is coming in. The only difference is the 7-inch reach that Miocic has over Cormier. But what it comes down to is this: Cormier was winning the second fight, and the best game change that Miocic did was go from body to liver, and he kept taking those shots to the liver, and that's what won him the fight. If it's going to be exactly the same thing that's going to happen in this third fight, where Miocic comes in and starts giving him liver punches, really working the body, and I'm sure Cormier has been working a lot on that type of conditioning to at least handle those type of shots. I think it's going to go down exactly like it did in the first fight. I think Cormier is going to walk away, retire, and he's going to be, a 2-time divisional heavyweight champion and coming back to regain his belt for the 3rd time this Saturday. And I really think that you know what, Miocic, I love him as a fighter, but man, Cormier has something that the heavyweights don't have. Man, he just has everything, man. And he's a classy guy. I love him.
Look, I love DC as well, okay? And what I'm about to say is going to sound harsh. And don't take it, like I dislike Daniel Cormier. Okay, I'm going to preface this by saying the guy is a hero. He's a true American patriot. He's a great man. I love him. But
don't let us get banned from YouTube, Dave. What do you say?
He's 41.
What? Okay.
He's not getting any younger. He's got 1 foot out the door. He's semi-retired.
What?
Come on. How many UFC fights do you hear Daniel Cormier on commentary? You couldn't hear
Stipe
Stipe
he's been like
Miocic.
That for a couple of fights
already. You couldn't
already.
hear Stipe Miocic on commentary because you wouldn't understand a goddamn thing that was going on. Right? You ever hear Stipe talk? You're like, what the fuck is he talking
what are you talking about, Dave? What are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what Stipe's saying half the time.
But his commercials are good.
I need an interpreter. I love Stipe as well. I don't want to say anything bad about Stipe, right? They're both scary guys. What I'm saying is DC at 41 is not going to be a better fighter now than he was a year ago when he fought Stipe Miocic. However, I see Daniel Cormier as a guy who won that first round and then fought Stipe overconfident, and he paid the price eventually. He got chipped away. Stipe, if you really watch what he was doing, he was chipping away at Daniel Cormier. He was hitting him, and eventually it wore on DC, and DC just couldn't take any more. And those body shots, especially those big body punches in the 4th round that went unanswered by Daniel Cormier, just hurt him so much that, he got hit with a punch to the head that was the one that knocked him down. But it was the accumulation of not just that 4th round, but of the 3rd and the 2nd round. And watching that fight, I saw the tide change after that 1st round. When DC couldn't put him away, he fought like he had him already beat, and he was a little bit cocky. Like, he was fighting with his hands down a lot of the time in that fight. If you guys will remember, DC was just walking at Stipe. He was grabbing Stipe's hands, throwing those punches. He was landing a lot, right? I'm not going to say he wasn't landing. He definitely was. But he was very confident, and he was taking a lot of shots as well that he didn't need to be taken. I think DC, if he fights this fight differently than he did the last one, he for sure could win this fight. I'm not confident in telling you guys Stipe is 100% going to win this fight. I'm leaning towards Stipe. DC, I think if he does clinch Stipe, push him up against the fence, tire him out, lean your weight on, wrestle him, go for the takedown, change level, dirty boxer. DC can win this fight, probably by decision. It might not be the most fun fight to watch, but DC, you know the way Kamaru Usman beat Jorge Masvidal? I think DC could beat Stipe in that way. But I'm not sure he'll go that way because he knocked him out the first time they fought, and he had success standing up the second time. Now, he had success to a point because he eventually did get knocked out. So I just wonder what DC's strategy is going to be going into this fight. Like, is he going to say, I'm gonna Khabib this guy. I'm going to go and I'm going to do what Kamaru did and what Khabib does. I'm going to just stick to my wrestling, and I'm going to handle Stipe. I think he's got enough wrestling to be able to win at least 3 of 5 rounds and take home a decision. But I don't know. I don't know if he does that. I think standing up, he exchanges, he sees what happens, and he gets caught, he gets hurt. I don't know if he gets finished. I am calling Stipe by decision. I think it's going to be a great fight. I think it's going to be really tough. I think both guys are going to have good moments. I call Stipe 3 rounds to 2. 48-47, Stipe Miocic decision fight. I think that's how it goes. It's close decision. It's going to go Stipe's way. That's my feel on it.
You see, they fought 5 rounds in 2 fights, okay? And the only round I give Stipe, me personally, is the last one where he got the TKO against Daniel Cormier. I think all the other rounds, Cormier was doing good. And yes, maybe Cormier could wrestle, but I think that's going to grind him, and that might push the cardio to a point where, hey, he's an older man. Do you want to do that with the younger man? I think DC had a lot of success standing up with Stipe. Like I say, in my opinion, he won the first 4 rounds that they fought against each other. The last one where he got knocked out, yes, Stipe got him to the liver. It changed the whole situation. And props to Stipe. He's the type of guy that you got to be careful until the end. You can't put your guard down. And you mentioned Cormier taking a lot of damage. I think that's a little bit of his style, though. Cormier is a little bit of a big guy that likes to trade still. And he gives more damage than he receives. So I'm going to go with Cormier, probably by decision or maybe another TKO like the first fight. But I got Cormier. I feel confident Cormier is going to win this stand-up.
Look. There's one thing that has been shown, like, over the career of DC. One thing that's been shown is that he has a problem taking shots to the midsection. Over his career, that's been his Achilles, and it's been opened up. I mean, they must have studied the tapes, and then his corner man, his coach, whatever, screamed out, "Go to the liver." Remember, go to the liver, and it worked. So if DC hasn't improved in the last, well, which has been quite a bit of time to be on a layoff and recover and really train properly, if he doesn't have, like, some kind of answer, Stipe is coming in with those shots. If Stipe can deliver, I think it was about 10 shots that he took to the belly, enough to end the fight. If Stipe can get in, it could be over. But like I said, it's a smaller octagon, and this is the problem. There's been no heavyweight fight in the last 5 years in an octagon this size when it's a title belt on the line. And you know what? If DC plays his game, like you said, Dave, it's going to be a boring fight. It's going to be a wrestling type of, I wouldn't say clinic, but it'll be there. It's going to be a boring fight, but he might end up winning by decision. But like I said, I'm still keeping with DC for the win on this.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be boring. Even if DC,
it's not going to be boring, but it's going to be not as much striking.
I like DC in that because he does throw a lot of strikes. He mixes that Greco style with the strikes. He's really good at doing that. He is a great fighter. I wouldn't be surprised if he won. I think Stipe is going to win, though. And again, I look at trilogy fights in the history of the UFC. How many times has it gone 1, 1, and 1? Usually, usually in trilogy fights, it goes, like, if the first guy, like Junior Dos Santos, Cain Velasquez, for example. Junior Dos Santos knocks Cain Velasquez out cold in their first encounter. Second fight, third fight, Cain Velasquez whooped that ass. George St. Pierre, Matt Hughes. George St. Pierre in the first encounter lost to Matt Hughes. Second fight, third fight, whooped that ass. Chuck Liddell, Randy Couture. Randy won the first one. Second and third, Chuck, destroyed Randy Couture. So, there are not many trilogy fights where it goes back and forth. The only one that I could think of was that BJ Penn, Matt Hughes, where BJ won the first, Matt Hughes won the second, and then BJ came back and won the third. But by the time they fought the third time, Matt Hughes was done, and BJ was still kind of there, so it was a different story. These guys are still there, but DC's saying he's going to retire after this fight. DC said he was going to not fight after 40. He said he was going to turn 40 and stop fighting. He's 41. And post-40, DC hasn't done very well. He's 0-1, and I think he's going to be 0-2.
Look, it's not a huge
Stipe's
difference.
Not a young man either. Stipe's not much younger than DC, right? Stipe's 37. He'll be 38 next week. His first birthday is the 19th of August. So, happy birthday.
They're close, man.
To the and still reigning defending heavyweight champion from Cleveland, Ohio, Stipe Miocic. I think Stipe wins this fight.
And kudos to his commercials.
I think Stipe wins this fight.
DC fought 3 times in 2018 and only once in 2019. So I feel like he's gonna be in good physical shape, if anything. And DC to me is a professional, so he's gonna be taking his training camp as seriously as anything else. I expect to see the top DC there. DC's always been kind of an old man. Like, he came into the sport a little bit old. No, but it's true. He came into the sport, like, what was it?
But now he's 41, Fred.
2009.
But it's different. It's different. In 2009, he wasn't really an old man. In 2009, I mean, let me do the math here. 41 now.
He was 30.
11. 30. That's not old. People thought he was old because, like, that's when he was making his debut, and it's kind of old to make an MMA debut, but he had, like, a big wrestling career before that. Like, he's 41. He's actually 41 now. You can't stay around forever. You can't be good forever.
Yeah, but wait a second,
guys. He's going to fight John Jones again.
What about the history of trilogy? Yeah, I think Jones is next for whoever wins. I think DC or Stipe, whoever wins this fight, they're fighting John Jones for the heavyweight title. But we'll get to that in a second. What about the history of the trilogy? Does that mean nothing to you? Like, you guys can't say, like, okay, this is a close fight. Stipe could definitely win, right? So when you look at the history of the fights, of the trilogies, it's a pattern a little bit, right?
No, why would BJ Penn versus Matt Hughes affect DC versus Stipe? I'd much rather look at the DC versus Stipe rounds, where I keep on thinking that DC won the first 4 rounds and Stipe won the last round. So to me, DC is the better fighter, so that's why I'm going.
Go back and watch round 2 and 3, though. Go back and watch round 2.
No, but man, those rounds were still like Cormier's rounds, Dave. Come on.
I watched them again today. When I was watching the fight, I agreed with you, but watching it again today, I was seeing something else. I was seeing Stipe start to, get that momentum. The shift was there. You could see it watching again. Of course, hindsight, you know where it's going to go. But
so, round 2, significant strikes: 56 out of 82 for Cormier, 46 out of 82 for Stipe. Round 3, 57 out of 86, 34 out of 67 for Stipe. So, in round 3, DC got 23 more significant strikes. Now, look, it's just numbers, but my memory of that fight was really changed once he got rocked to the liver. That's my memory of that.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I remember, is that when that body shot was thrown by Stipe, I still remember Cormier's face. He made that grimace like, shit, this hurts. And I think that's when it just opened up the can of worms, and like there were like 10 different shots to the body from there till they stopped the fight, which isn't that many when you think about it. But when you're throwing 10 heavy bombs to the liver, this is the problem. You're saying he's 41 years old, but last weekend we had Olenek that was fighting, and how old is he? He's 44?
He lost.
40. But it doesn't matter. Who's in a better shape, like, when you think about it? Yeah, but he lost. But he almost won. He almost won, man. He almost, but it's not enough. Almost is not enough. But the thing is that that's his game. The difference Yeah, well, it doesn't. It's not too good for your record. But the thing is that you know what? You got to give it to DC. If DC didn't get those liver punches, he was winning that fight. It might have been maybe by knockout, or it would have been by decision, and that would have been the end of this trilogy. But like when I look at trilogies and whatnot, I look at even boxing, man. Like some of the best fights that I saw that I was always pumped was like Arturo Gatti against Mickey Ward. Those type of fights, man, were so exciting that you want to see it. And to be honest, I'm excited to see this fight because it's a pick 'em. When you think about it, the Vegas odds on these guys is like a minus 115 to minus 105. There is not much of a difference here. It's really going to be a close fight. And I think the first round is going to indicate who's winning this fight.
Yeah, I'm seeing a pick 'em on a lot of different sports books. 115 on either side. I'm seeing DC as a slight favorite, minus 115, Stipe minus 105. Like, that's basically a pick 'em. Nobody really knows where this fight is going. It's kind of a coin toss. And I agree. You know, I think this fight could go either way. I'm leaning towards Stipe, and I really like that both of you guys are going with DC, because then when Stipe wins, I'll be able to really gloat and look like a genius. It'll be great. You know?
Once again.
It'll be good. AJ, you were right last weekend.
That the second fight is on YouTube, so I'm watching it right now.
Oh,
it's on the UFC
that's good.
channel.
Thanks for paying attention to the show here, Fred. I'm glad you're fully focused on what we're actually doing, our YouTube show, instead of giving views to some illegal YouTuber who's uploaded this fight.
Look, no, it's on the UFC channel.
Oh, okay. Oh, thanks for plugging it too, Fred. Plug in another YouTube link too.
So don't watch our show. Just go to the YouTube channel. and watch the
stop
fight.
saying that. You're like doing it for him. What are you guys trying to do here?
But Fred, listen. At least he said he's watching the fights. He could have said that he was watching porn on the side. I don't know, man.
I appreciate everybody that's watching. Lauren Cronish, Woods MMA UK out in London, Johnny North, the big man. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for supporting us on the Super Chat. We will be live with you on Saturday night, 10 p.m. here for the live watch-along. I want to preview the Sean O'Malley fight. I think I'm finally on the Sean O'Malley hype train. The hair was a little wild for me. You know, I like it to be a little bit more, you see me, I don't have the crazy hair, and nobody likes crazy hair down there. And for that, you need our friends over at Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com and use that promo code Ringside20 for 20% off plus free shipping on your entire order. Manscape yourself. Get the Lawnmower 3.0, now available in Canada. It's fantastic. I have it. Fred has it. AJ has it. Guys, you love this thing, right? It's a great... Fred, you were just telling us before the show how you were manscaped and all shaved down. You use your 3.0 today, a nice lawnmower?
Oh, yeah, from head to toe.
Head to toe. Look at this guy. And he's got
someone's getting lucky.
But actually, the head clipper is not the same. But hey, I'm fresh, clean from head to toe.
That's right.
You look like Brad Pitt there, Freddie. You look awesome.
Yeah, Freddie looking great, and you can look great just like Freddie if you go to manscaped.com and you use that promo code Ringside20 for 20% off your order and free shipping. It's really a great deal. You get yourself all sorts of great products that they have over at Manscaped. You keep yourself clean. You keep yourself smelling good. Your balls will thank you. AJ knows. And you also support the Ringside Report Network. So it's a fantastic deal for everybody involved. We appreciate it. You'll appreciate it. You'll love the products. You really will. We enjoy all the stuff from Manscaped. It's great stuff. So go to manscaped.com. Use that promo code Ringside20 and help yourself and help us as well. Help the Ringside Report Network. Thank you for supporting. Thank you to Patrick C. Hamilton for jumping on the Super Chat. Thank you, Patrick. The nice heart thanks emoji. Thank you, Patrick, my main man. Yeah.
Always saving balls, Dave. Always saving balls. You do such a noble thing. But you know what?
We're trying, man. We're trying here. We're trying. We're working. We're getting all the business done. What?
It's
AJ?
all about the Benjamins, buddy.
You know what? What do you have? Do I know what?
I was gonna try to. What was I gonna say?
I don't know. I want to talk about Sean O'Malley and Marlon Vera. Can we do that?
Yeah, go ahead.
AJ's so good.
Feel free.
So good. What was I gonna say? Like, how long would he fill? Fred, if I didn't interrupt there, how long do you think AJ would have filled YouTube time with? What was I gonna say? Well, like how long would that
I'll put it this way.
I'm kind of I'm kind of like Joe Biden trying to figure out what am I going to do.
You're confused. You're the same age, I think.
I got 36
hey, easy there,
seconds
Davey.
left this round 2, so it would have took me 36 seconds to come into whatever AJ would have said.
I see. How's
and
round
DC
2 looking?
won round 2. Oh, DC won it. DC's the guy that's going forward all along. Like DC's
Moving,
like
doesn't
that
necessarily
dirty
mean you're
boxing
winning.
and all.
Well, wait till round 3, Fred. It'll be all right. I like that Fred is watching this fight as we're previewing other fights. Sean O'Malley and Marlon Vera. O'Malley coming in as a pretty big favorite, minus 265. Marlon Vera plus 225, the underdog. This is a big fight here for Sean O'Malley.
What?
It's on the.
It's changed.
What?
It's changed. Did you say Vera is the underdog?
Yeah, big time.
Wow, because it was completely the opposite. In fact, all the hype is on Sean O'Malley, but all the bookmakers in Vegas were totally behind Vera. In fact, I still was pretty sure till this morning they were all on the Vera bandwagon. So,
I think you were
it's
probably
changed.
looking at those odds a little bit incorrect because I think it was on O'Malley.
No. Vera is. I'm telling you.
And
I got the history of the odds, and Vera opened up an underdog and a bigger underdog now.
Yeah, thanks, AJ.
He never was the favorite.
All right. I was getting.
Yeah.
I was getting some.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, when you're a minus 265 favorite, that's not like a shift. You know what I mean? Like, when you're that heavy of a favorite, you were never the underdog in the fight. You know what I'm saying? That's too big. I didn't believe that at all, AJ, but it's AJ factor. So I'm glad that Fred's there to check them for us. O'Malley, 12-0. He's 4-0 now in the UFC. He's looked very good. There's a lot of hype on this guy. He did something really smart recently, which I think was just great. He put out, I think, T-shirts, maybe jerseys, right? A line of stuff. And they were limited edition. He said, there's 100 of these. There's 100 of this. There's 100 of this. Get them now. After that, they'll be gone. I'll never make these again. And they sold out immediately. And he made a bunch of money. And that's how you got to sell merchandise. When we start selling merchandise, which I know I've been promising for a long time, but we will actually do it. It will all be. Take it easy, AJ. Why don't you do it? So,
I sent you the link.
Yeah, you sent me all sorts of. You sent me a lot of links, and I can't always open them in public. All right, so let's say that.
That's why you use IP Vanish.
Exactly. We'll get to that.
Go, Dave. What's happening?
I don't know. You completely threw me off. I'm gone now.
I'm still telling you, Vera's a dangerous guy, man.
Yeah,
don't count him out.
Vera is definitely dangerous, but Sean O'Malley is really impressive, and he's a smart guy.
T-shirt.
And he had
the t-shirts.
the T-shirts, man. It's smart. It's a smart move, and we're gonna do that too. When we make shirts, they're gonna be super limited edition. We're gonna make like 20 of them, and if you get them, you get them. If you don't, they'll be gone. And then we'll make a new design, 20 of those, and you gotta in and out. So then you wear exclusive stuff. That's all I want to wear, by the way. I like wearing stuff that like nobody else has because if we all wear the same thing, it's pretty boring, right?
Like your Yeezys, I guess. Is that what you're trying to get at?
I like getting exclusive things. I think exclusive clothing is the way. It's how it's supposed to be. Okay, you got to have stuff that like is sold out. You got to have stuff because nobody likes to walk around wearing some hoodie that you think is cool, and then you see some guy in it who looks like very uncool wearing the hoodie, and you're like, man.
Like the hundreds of people that wear Yankee shirts, huh?
I mean, we're all cool. People that wear No, we're all cool, Fred.
Houston Astros in the house.
Yeah, Yankee. Yeah, come on. You're dissing my Yankee stuff, and you're wearing a stinking Astros hat right now, which is just shameful.
No, it's because you're talking about exclusiveness, and I'm like, a lot of people are wearing that.
Yeah. Well, not everything you wear has to be exclusive, Fred. I'm not saying everything, but I'm saying it's good to have exclusive fashion. I think it's smart, and Sean O'Malley is a smart guy. And, I think I'm getting old, guys, okay? Because
What?
Yes, okay, it's finally happening, okay? I'm in my early to mid-30s at this point. I guess mid, right? I'm going to be 35 in a couple of months, so mid-30s here, guys. I feel
Viagra!
No, I'm fine on that front, by the way. Totally fine.
Come on, AJ.
Take it easy. I don't know. Maybe you, AJ, but I'm good. But
Zucchini time.
Sean O'Malley's 25, okay, and he's got the face tattoos and the rainbow hair and this look that I see as, I think, an old guy as like a goofy look, but really that's just kind of a trend among that age group, I think. And he's not a dumb guy, and he's not an act. See, I confused Sean O'Malley with Mike Perry for too long, all right? I thought, Mike Perry,
What?
total joke, total jabroni, completely no time for him. But Sean O'Malley, similar look with the face tattoos. Not a lot of UFC fighters have the face tattoos. And I saw O'Malley, and I'm like, he looks like Tekashi 6ix9ine. He looked a little weird, and I was like, he seems like kind of a flash in the pan, maybe a trend that won't really last. But now I'm starting to see this guy talk, and I've seen him fight, and, he's good, but he hasn't faced real competition, and I want to see him face some real competition. I'm not sold that he's going to be the world champion at 135 pounds, but I am sold on him maybe doing it, and I am sold on him being a legit fighter and a really disciplined, dedicated martial artist. This guy is no dummy. Don't let the face tattoos and the whole gimmick fool you. I think it fooled me a little bit because I'm like old now and like I'm not cool enough to understand it. But I recognize that, and I recognize that the youth are better than us, and they know the way. So I'm with the Sean O'Malley hype train. I'm fully down with him. I think he's going to be a serious star in MMA. And, the more I see him fight, the more impressed I am. But it's really the interviews and hearing him speak now. I haven't really heard him speak until maybe this week, and I was like, this guy's actually kind of smart. I think this guy could go somewhere in this sport. I like Sean O'Malley.
He's got the Connor factor, that's for sure.
You don't get to that level by being dumb, man. No matter who it is.
Sometimes you can.
I think some of these guys lack social skills, which is different, but these guys are smart. And I'm just going to stick to the old guys and say that DC won that third round, even more impressive than that second round. If anything, maybe that second round went to Stipe, but back to Sean O'Malley. I got him winning. Hopefully Dave doesn't jinx him because, right now, Dave just jumped on the bandwagon, so it might just go down rail for O'Malley from here.
Why am I the jinx?
Well, because you didn't believe in him for so long, so now, it's dangerous, man. We don't trust you, man. We don't trust you. Well, but I got O'Malley winning.
I seem to be a guy, I seem to remember, Fred, a certain guy, a certain Irishman that I was fully buying into the hype, and a certain 145-pound Brazilian that you thought was going to whoop that Irishman's ass, and I think the rest is history, Freddie Garcia. We've been doing this show a long time, brother.
Look.
We went on for months, Fred. Do you remember that? Months. And I was like, I'm telling you, Connor's going to smoke this guy. It hurts
That's
so
one
bad.
of the fights that hurts me the most. Just the way that it went down so quick also. It was
Go
Look,
ahead, AJ.
I'm going to tell you something.
Man.
O'Malley definitely has taken some part of Connor and other shticks, and he's really making a name for himself. The thing, he's 12-0. He's got to continue with this pace. And the guy that he's fighting now is no Eddie Wineland that he fought that he took out in the first round. It's not going to be the same. This is going to be a much different pace fight. And you know what? A lot of people are saying, you know what? I think the odds, you're saying that Vegas is giving the odds to O'Malley and whatnot. But let's not forget that Vera could be the guy that can put that one on O'Malley's record. Technically, yes, O'Malley's a better striker. But when you look at a guy who has amazing wrestling that doesn't even have a wrestling background, a guy like Vera can do it. So now we have to see, can he outpace him? If he can, maybe. But it's not going to be like Eddie Wineland, man. It's not going to be like that fight. O'Malley is coming up against a guy that is dangerous. And if he could beat Vera and he could do it in style, then I'm going to jump on the bandwagon. I'm going to jump on that hype train. And usually, you know me, I'm always jumping on hype trains. But the O'Malley, I like him a lot, but I don't want to start saying anything and then being disappointed like we did with Edmund a couple of weeks ago. That was like a big barn burner for everybody. It was like fizzle, gone. But again, the kid is young. He's 21 years old or something like that. He'll bounce back. Yeah. But you know what? O'Malley is really
So are you
he's just got to prove himself.
Here? Are you picking against him?
Look, if I'm going to bet on this fight, I'm going to go with O'Malley for the win because I think he has a lot to show that he is the man and he is the future. And I think the UFC is hoping that he can do it. But he needs to beat a guy like Vera and a guy like Vera in style, because Vera is not going to give him any chance to just basically flow in this fight. He's going to make it difficult. He's going to want to take this fight to the ground. And that's what I think. And you know what? You can't count Vera out, because if he does win, it'll be a good payday. But if I'm betting on this one, I'm going on O'Malley for the win.
Marlon Vera has never been finished in his entire career.
Exactly.
Lost. He's 15-6, coming off a decision loss to Song Yadong, but he's never been finished in his whole MMA career. Sean O'Malley, 12 wins, 8 by knockout. I think O'Malley wins by decision here, though. Go ahead, Fred.
Eddie Wineland was a legit fighter, but Vera is another level. I think it's another jump in competition. Which, look, it's normal. He's on a success streak. He's winning. It's a normal progression. So I hope he wins. I like the character. I like guys that have charisma and all that. And people like this kid because he has charisma. So I hope he has success, because he's the type of guy that's going to help the sport get even more eyeballs. And back to Stipe and DC, that liver shot early in round 4 really changed the fight. So if anything, I'm going to say I'm going to be interested to see if DC attacks the liver much earlier, because he didn't do it in the first 3 rounds. In the 4th round, early in the 4th round, he connected, and he saw in DC's face that it bothered him, and he kept on attacking it. So that's going to be an interesting aspect of the fight. If Stipe attacks the liver early.
Freddie, and that's exactly what I was saying earlier. I was saying that when I was watching that fight, and he was just playing that game, trying to take DC's head off, kept trying to throw those power punches to the face. It wasn't working. Then all of a sudden, he threw that heavy body punch. It hit the liver, and you can see DC's face, man. It was clear as a bell. He was in pain. And it was right there that I knew that he was in trouble. And that was it. That was the Achilles for DC, and that was the end of the fight. But you saw it in that 4th round. It was changed.
You know just as well as I do that when you're in a fight, right, and you're taking punishment and you're getting tired and you're hurt and whatever, one perfectly placed shot in your liver is going to hurt you way more than it would have in the first round when you haven't taken any damage, right? The accumulation of damage doesn't help when you're taking those big body punches. Like when you're tired and you get hit in the body, it's a big difference from when you're fresh and getting hit in the body. When you're tired and getting hit in the body, it's like you're going to puke right away. And it's like, AJ, you've been in this. You've been a martial artist for 78 years or however old Biden is. You understand what it's like taking a body punch when you're tired. I've taken body punches when I'm tired. It sucks.
But I've taken a body punch when I was not tired, and I've gotten a liver. I was just about to explain that. I've gotten a liver punch from one of my old buddies from the Irish boxing scene, and I was okay. And he threw that liver punch to me, and I can tell you to this day that both my legs went up in the air, like they sort of peeled up, and I dropped on the ground, man, and I could not breathe. I was gone. And you know what? I'd rather take a punch to the face than to take such a precise punch to the liver. Because I'm telling you, when I took that punch to the liver, I wasn't tired. But let me tell you, my legs sprung up like there were no more legs under me. I was on the ground kissing the canvas, and I can tell you one thing. I'm not DC. DC is a heavyweight who could take a lot of punishment. Through his training camps, through his career, this guy can take a punishment. But when Stipe was throwing those bombs and just hitting that target, man, he knew what to do to win the fight. And I'm telling you, they studied that because that was the biggest problem for DC in his career, that every time he takes a body punch, he seems to be thrown off. And you know what? We'll see on Saturday. Like Freddie said, if we don't see those punches right away in the first round, DC's going to end up winning this.
We'll see. We'll see on Saturday. I'm really hyped for this fight. This is a good one. Sean O'Malley and Marlon Vera is a good one. We've all got O'Malley for the win. I've got him by decision. Fred, you got him by what? Decision?
Yep.
AJ too. Right, AJ?
Yep,
change
absolutely.
Your mind again?
No. I'm going with DC for the decision on this one. This is going to be it's going to go the distance.
Junior Dos Santos, former UFC heavyweight champion, 36 years old, coming off 2 straight losses to Ngannou and Curtis Blades. He is a slight underdog here against Jairzinho.
Oof, no.
What's the matter?
He's a slight underdog, Dos
AJ, you gotta
Santos.
fix that mic
Yeah.
issue.
Yeah, get your shit
What
together,
happened?
AJ. Junior Dos Santos is a slight underdog to Jairzinho. Where you see, like, your odds tonight, like you're questioning the odds that I have right in front of me that are very accurate, and you're coming up with odds that are ridiculous. And Fred has already corrected you, yet you're still challenging the odds. It's odd. So Junior Dos Santos plus 110, the underdog. Jairzinho Rozenstruik minus 130, the slight favorite here in this one. Jairzinho, I think his last fight, is a knockout loss to Ngannou in 20 seconds. Before that, though, he was 10-0 and looking really scary. He knocked out Alistair Overeem. He had a good fight there. Jairzinho is tough. And, Junior Dos Santos, great fighter. He's had some great fights in his career. He beat Stipe. He beat Cain Velasquez. He beat Shane Carwin. He beat Pro Cop. He beat Verdum. Like, you look at the list of guys Junior Dos Santos has beat, he's beat the best heavyweights ever. Verdum, Pro Cop, Cain Velasquez, Frank Mir, Stipe. Like, he's beat them all. But he's not been, he's lost some key fights. He lost a couple to Cain. He lost to Alistair Overeem. He lost to Stipe when they rematched for the heavyweight title in 2017. But then he went on a good run. He beat Blagoy. He beat Tai Tuivasa. He beat Derek Lewis. That was a really good fight for JDS. But then he ran into some trouble. He lost to Ngannou, which, you can understand. Then he lost to Curtis Blades, another tough fighter. And now he's taking on Jairzinho, and I feel like this is another one of those guys, kind of like Curtis Blades, kind of like Ngannou, that's going to give Junior Dos Santos problems. I hope I'm wrong, AJ. I really do. I like Junior Dos Santos. I'm a fan of this guy. I have been for a long time. I was sad when he lost to Cain Velasquez. I was like, he's just never going to beat Cain. It's just kind of sad, especially when he lost the second time. It was just like, poor Junior. He just got his ass kicked and, his brain scrambled, and he's just never going to beat this guy. I love him. I think he's a great fighter, and when he was in his prime knocking everybody out, man, there was nobody more exciting than JDS. Lugano, he was great, man. But he's 36, and I feel like this is more Jairzinho's time. Jairzinho's 32. He's not much younger, but he's had less wear and tear. He's had less fights under his belt. Dos Santos is what? 21-7, 28 pro fights. Jairzinho, what did I say? 11 pro fights. It's a big difference, especially at heavyweight, man. It wears on. AJ, you think I'm wrong?
Look, yeah, you're wrong. And you know what? If you want to make some money, put your money on Dos Santos, because you know why? No one has a more solid striking game than Dos Santos. When you mentioned all those names prior, and you can fight against guys like that, you're in a different league. Jairzinho, man, okay, he got rocked by Ngannou, but the guy has almost, I think his striking defense is at 30%. You know how shit that is? You're going up against like Dos Santos. Like, it doesn't make sense. He has no boxing. You know how you have no boxing defense and you're going up against Dos Santos. So the odds makers are totally wrong on this. If you want to make money, take Dos Santos because he's going to knock Jairzinho out. And if it's not a KO, it's a TKO stoppage. But when you've got no boxing defense and your percentage is that low, man, no kidding, Ngannou knocked him out. It's like hitting a walking heavy bag. Jesus. That's what he is. That's all he is. He's a walking heavy bag.
I
but what about Curtis
that...
Blades, man? What about the Curtis Blades fight with Dos Santos? I didn't like that one.
Listen, man, you know what? Things happen. Everybody can have a bad fight, but I'm telling you, man, Dos Santos is not...
Arlovsky and Overeem.
Arlovsky! Yeah, but Arlovsky and Overeem, not in their prime. Two guys that are like melted Kit Kats that are fighting in the UFC past their due date.
Overeem, not in his prime, knocked out Junior Dos Santos. So your logic.
But I mean,
but no. But that's Overeem. Let's not compare Overeem to Jairzinho. Let's be honest.
I don't know where you got your stats.
Jairzinho beat
I don't know where
Overeem,
you
and
got your
Overeem
stats.
beat Dos Santos.
He has zero boxing defense, Fred. Trust me. And you know what? He's going down. He's going
I'll
down
keep an
to
eye
the
on that.
ground.
You intrigue me, but I'm going to go with the younger Jairzinho. JDS
No,
up and down.
younger. Oh,
Excellent. Look, JDS is an excellent boxer. So if it goes on like boxing mostly this fight, he might have JDS might come out the winner. But I like Jairzinho. He got knocked out by Ngannou, but who wouldn't get knocked out by Ngannou?
All right.
I don't know, man. Odds makers are wrong on this one.
I'm looking forward to it. I think AJ's wrong, but that's okay. I think AJ's often wrong. Sometimes you're right, AJ. It happens. But I'm going to go with Jairzinho. Fred's going with Jairzinho. How about John Dodson and Marab Dvalishvili? Marab Dvalishvili is the favorite, minus 245. Dodson plus 205, the underdog. Marab is from Georgia, 29 years of age, 11-4. He's got 4 straight wins in the UFC. Decision wins over some, decent competition. I don't know, though. John Dodson, I feel, is a little bit tougher than some of the guys that Marab has been fighting. I'm a little bit surprised that Dodson is such a big underdog here.
But between the two, Dodson hasn't looked better. That's the difference. Between these two fighters, if you're going to look at who's performing better, you're going to go with what's his name, Davalshi, whatever his name is.
Yeah. Well, he's won 4 in a row, but Dodson, the losses that he's had are to Peter Yan and Jimmy Rivera, both by decision. He went 3 rounds with the champion, and that was his last loss. Like, he's fighting tougher guys. Marlon Moraes, Jimmy Rivera.
He's 4-5 in his last 9, though.
Yeah,
he's 4-5 in his last 9.
He's lost a lot of fights, but, the competition. Look at who he's losing to. Demetrius Johnson, John Lineker, Marlon Moraes, Jimmy Rivera, and Peter Yan. That's who beats John Dodson. World championship level fighter.
Who did he defeat? Manvel Gamburian?
Pedro Munoz, Eddie Wineland, Manny Gamburian, Zach Makovsky, John Moraga. He's beat some good guys. Tim Elliott, TJ Dillashaw.
I like Dodson.
I like Dodson, too. I think Dodson's going to pull off the upset here. I like Dodson for the win.
I'm going to go the other way, guys.
Good.
You're going to be making money with my... Am I? Listen, other than like those two main... Listen, the rest of the card isn't that great when you think about it. It's nothing exciting in there.
But you're the guy that loves everybody, man.
Acme Toon says, AJ is age biased for old men. You really are. You really are. Shout out to everybody watching.
We need to be sponsored by Viagra. Then I'll change my tune. Listen, you didn't mention Herbert Burns that's fighting.
Who?
Herbert Burns.
Who's that? Gilbert Burns' brother?
Yes.
Is he?
That'll be a good one. Yeah.
Is he actually?
Versus Daniel Pineda.
Wait,
yeah,
is
man,
he really?
The Burns. That's.
That was
almost
a joke.
positive.
He's really his brother?
No. He has so many brothers, Burns. I forgot how many he has. I think there's like 3 or something like that are fighting in MMA and jiu-jitsu and whatnot. The Burns family is like loaded with kids.
Yes, he is Gilbert Burns' brother. I said that as a joke.
Yeah.
I said that totally as a joke. You're like, what about Herbert Burns? I'm like, what is he, Gilbert's brother? And he is. He's fighting Daniel Pineda on this main card. I don't know anything about him other than I just guessed that he's Gilbert Burns' brother.
Look, he's a great grappler who's exactly, and you're going to take him for the win by submission, my friend.
Yeah.
Believe it.
Minus 280 the favorite. That makes sense to me. Okay. What else is on this thing? Here's one I like. Jim Miller and Vince Pichel. And for some reason, they have Vince Pichel as the favorite, minus 135. Miller plus 115, the underdog. And I don't know about that. I feel like Jim Miller is a better fighter than the guys that Vince Pichel has faced. And just looking at their last fight, Miller's last fight
in a year.
Miller's last fight was in June of this year. He beat Roosevelt Roberts by submission. Vince Pichel's last fight was in June of last year, where he beat Roosevelt Roberts by decision. Roosevelt Roberts, this is the Roosevelt Roberts rebound fight. Pichel beat him by decision, but Miller beat him by submission. So I'm going to go with Jim Miller. I think Jim Miller's just a better fighter. You know, Miller's been around for a long time.
Who names their son Roosevelt?
I don't know. It's a weird name.
Are we like in the 1800s?
I don't know, man. I don't know anything about Roosevelt. Let's not damage the good name of Roosevelt. Let's just say that I think Jim Miller's going to win. He's a slight underdog. What do you guys think?
Isn't Rosie Cheeks called Roosevelt?
What?
Rosie Cheeks. Isn't his name Roosevelt? What's his first name?
Who?
Your buddy
it's not
Rosie Cheeks.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it's not Rosie Cheeks.
My buddy Rosie Cheeks. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. So, what do you think about Jim Miller and Vince Pichel, man? Who do you think's gonna win?
Miller.
Okay.
Miller, man.
Fred? Yeah?
Yeah.
Fred's going with him, too. All right. I want to tell you about Paige Van Zandt. Is there anything else on this UFC 252 that we should get to before we talk about Paige Van Zandt and what she's going to do to her face?
Not much. The Felice Herrig fights, the women's fight.
Oh, yeah, she's fighting.
Should be good.
How about last week when Derek Lewis beat Alexei Oleinik, and then on the interview he said he had to go take a shit? That was amazing. Was that as good as my balls was hot?
You know what? My balls were hot was that he knew he was on live. I think I'm going for a shit. He didn't realize the camera was on.
Still,
that's the difference.
Who on camera? Like, even if I didn't think we were live on YouTube currently, I don't think I would go over and be like, "Oh, I got to take a shit" to anybody. I don't think. Like, is that something you even announce? Like, in what situation do you have to tell somebody else as an adult? Like my son, you know, who's not fully potty trained, he's like, "Oh, I have to poop, Daddy." I understand. He's 3. But, like, Fred, when's the last time you told somebody, "I have to go take a shit"? Like, what does that happen in real life?
Yeah, sure.
Is telling it to myself, does that count? Because, like, sometimes I'll be alone and I'll go like, "Oh, I gotta go take a shit."
No, that's not. That doesn't count. That doesn't count.
Okay. That don't count. All right. Oh no, I've never done it.
No, it's weird. It's a weird thing for you to do, especially when you have a microphone and camera right there. It seems strange, but hey, man, Derek Lewis is gonna Derek Lewis, and he looked really good, man. He lost the first round, got himself trapped in all sorts of nasty positions. I thought Oleinik was gonna pull off one of his, Ezekiel chokes again, but it didn't happen. Lewis survived, and then in the second round, boom, knocks him out. Really impressive stuff from Derek Lewis.
But let's not forget, he did admit that he was in that choke or that bulldog choke, whatever you want to call it. He was so close to tapping out. He said it. He was so close. And you know what? You got to give it to Oleinik. He put in that choke, and he almost got Lewis. He admitted, Lewis said it. It was very, very close. He just pulled everything in his power to get out of it. But you know what? That just goes to show you how Lewis, man, can fight through diversity and places that most people would have tapped. And that's the thing with Lewis. Just when you think this guy is out, he comes back and he does it.
Yeah.
Kind of like Anderson Silva on Chael Sonnen. Let's not forget.
I would take it easy on comparing Derek Lewis to Anderson Silva, but that's okay. Chris Weidman, man. Speaking of Anderson Silva, right? Speaking of Anderson, the man who took him down, the man who ended the reign, Chris Weidman. We were all saying it was done. It was over for Weidman, but no, he comes back, beats Amari Akhmedov by decision. I thought it was a rough. What was it the first or second round? He definitely lost. I think it was the second, right?
Second round.
Yeah. Second round. So it looked kind of rough there for Weidman, but he managed to come back. Totally dominated that third round, got the takedown, got top position, and that's really how you win if you're Chris Weidman, man. He's a hell of a grappler, and he did it, man. That was really nice to see. I was thinking he was done, but he is not. People saying all sorts of different fights for Weidman. Maybe Anderson Silva again. Maybe Luke Rockhold again.
Yes, sir. That's what I wanted to hear.
Weidman said he's not interested in Rockhold. Says it
Really?
doesn't
Why not?
give him anything. Says it
But you know
doesn't
what?
give him anything.
He's
Doesn't
not wrong.
matter, but it gave. Look, Weidman's win opened up the fact that guys like Luke Rockhold will come out of retirement and come and fight again. It's great. It's great to see a guy like Weidman come back and get that victory. You know, but how far can he go from here? Let's be honest. It was a good victory for him, but it wasn't like the best executed Weidman win.
Yeah.
You know,
It wasn't perfect.
You know,
it wasn't perfect.
No.
It wasn't without some scary moments where he could have lost the fight. That's for sure. But it was nice to see Weidman come away with a W because he's been losing a lot.
Right.
But
I don't
Fred?
see
But wait,
Weidman
guys, you
ever
forgot
competing against Adesanya or Costa. Unfortunately, his
No.
better days are still behind him. Good
Yeah.
win for him. I'm happy. But I
it,
wouldn't want to see him against Adesanya or Costa. They would hurt him.
AJ?
Coach,
Yes.
Coach, let me
Yes,
in.
young man.
I just realized something what you guys did. You put the fast one on me. You did it again. And I'm thinking, why did they move so fast from the Lewis fight to get into the Weidman? And I just realized it because I was right. I called Lewis and you guys went against me. And look what happened. Now I know why you guys switched so fast to get to this freaking Weidman fight. I'm like, something's missing here. AJ is not getting the kudos that he deserves. So, guys, you know what? AJ was right again.
Not everything's about you, AJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? The whole week was, AJ is going to bring it up. And then I just realized they moved so fast, and that's why.
Can we make a rule on this show, AJ? You're not allowed to gloat about the win unless you picked an underdog to win. You have to pick a dog because all you really did was go with the favorite and pick him to win, and then he won, and Fred and I were like, maybe Oleinik's going to pull it off, and now you come and gloat on the show.
Look, he picked it. Let him gloat. It
Okay.
doesn't happen often. I think we could all agree that it doesn't happen often. When's the last show that AJ gloated?
That's true. It doesn't happen very often anymore because he's often wrong. Remember when AJ picked Gustafsson to beat Verdum, and we were both like, what? What are you talking about? And Verdum was
Remember
like
when
the
he said
big
Johnny
underdog.
Walker was the next big thing. Remember
Yeah.
when he said Dominic Reyes would beat John Jones?
Oh, no. Dominic Reyes did.
Remember.
No. Dominic Reyes did beat John Jones.
Remember when he said Alexander Gustafsson would beat John Jones? Oh, remember when he said Anthony Smith would beat John Jones?
Gus would beat Verdum. That was recent.
That was a good one. That was a couple weeks ago. He picked Gustafsson over Verdum.
Hey,
good one, AJ.
Oh, yeah, congrats on Lewis. The guy that has a puncher's chance. That's the guy you picked. And
Yeah.
he got his puncher's chance.
You picked correctly, AJ. I can't wait for Saturday night. I can't wait for Saturday night when Stipe wins.
Nah.
All right.
No.
Okay, we'll see. Yeah, I like that you're both against me on this one. I feel like AJ. Everybody's against me on the show. It feels weird. It's usually me and Fred against AJ. I don't like this, me by myself against both of you guys. It's strange. And
hey,
Fred,
listen.
Fred, you should be questioning yourself now because you just picked with AJ for the main event of a UFC show, so be careful. And when's
I wanted to tell you.
When's the last time AJ got 2 right in a row?
I'm not sure.
AJ's like, happen. Even AJ is doubting himself now.
Well, no. Listen, for this card coming up this Saturday, go with my pick. You are going to win.
All right.
And you're going to make money. Listen,
I would disagree.
For the watch along, I was thinking me and Johnny North make our way to PJ's and do the watch along from there. What do you think?
Terrible
Test
idea.
the waters on
Terrible idea, because then I won't be able to see you or hear you.
Yeah. Of course you're going to see me.
The internet connection is not going to be good.
Yeah, that's going to be terrible.
That's your data.
Yeah.
That's an idea of someone that's over. Doesn't understand.
Me and Johnny need to get out.
Doesn't understand.
I mean, you and Johnny are going to go to a bar together? I don't see that.
Yeah, so
seems...
it's kind of like a field study, sort of like reportage investigation to see what's happening with the UFC scene. We're going to be out there, do a couple of interviews with people, that kind of stuff.
No,
Me and
I don't.
Johnny North.
I don't want
that. In the dark again.
You can not be on the watch along if you're going to do that. You can just not be on. That'd be fine. Fred and I can handle it. We'll be fine.
So much for my idea.
Yeah, another bad idea brought to you by AJ DeLesio. Okay, I want to talk about Paige Van Zandt, but we should talk about IP Vanish. Go to vpn.ringsidereport.net. Protect yourself on the internet. Protect all of your devices. Use the internet as if you're streaming from your server's location. You can do all sorts of stuff with IP Vanish. First of all, you're not going to get hacked. You're going to be protected. And also, you're going to mask your identity on the internet. So, people can't see where you're watching things from. You ever see that thing where it says, this video is not available in your area? No more with IP Vanish. Go to vpn.ringsidereport.net and sign up today and support the Ringside Report Network at the same damn time. Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
What happened, Dave? Are you okay?
Paige Van Zandt has signed with the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Apparently, she was offered a Bellator contract that she turned down because she got a reportedly now multi-million-dollar deal from the BKFC, the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. So Paige Van Zandt, who says that she makes more money off Instagram than UFC, is going to go fight Bare Knuckle, where her face is going to get smashed up pretty good. So that was one I was not expecting. I was not expecting Paige Van Zandt signs with Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship as an MMA headline in 2020. But you know what? This year's been so goddamn unpredictable and so goddamn apocalyptic. This seems about right. This seems about right for 2020. Cute Paige Van Zandt, Dancing with the Stars Paige Van Zandt, Instagram model Paige Van Zandt. She's going to be a bare knuckle boxer. That's her next move. Yep, that seems about right. Good. I mean, hey, if they're paying her multi-million dollars, cool. Take the money, Paige. Good for you. I'm glad somebody's paying her. She's worth it. She's a star. She's a star. She'll draw people in. You want people to watch bare knuckle fighting? You tell me Paige Van Zandt is going to bare knuckle box somebody? Yeah, I'm watching that. For sure watching that. So good for Paige. Good for bare knuckle fighting that they have that kind of money. Good for Paige that she's getting that money. But by God, I was not expecting that one. That is quite a... Because you see what happens to these people's faces after the bare knuckle boxing, and it is gruesome. It looks like they're a puzzle that hasn't been put together, Rough ski. And Paige, she makes her money off putting pretty pictures of herself on Instagram. So for her to go and just put that on the line is yeah. She's like, I'm not about that. I'm a fighter. So damn.
Is she making multi-million on Instagram? Because I would tell you,
probably not.
That seems like a very nice offer. That's hard to say no. So Bellator, maybe they didn't offer as much or whatever. I would have rather seen her continue in MMA because that's the sport I love, and I think the same thing for you guys. But hey, I'm intrigued. I'll watch her in bare knuckle. I'll watch it the first time. If she loses, though, they'll lose my interest quick. She better be winning.
Yeah. My peak bare knuckle boxing interest was when Artem Lobov fought Paulie Malignaggi. That was the best bare knuckle boxing they ever did. And
it was a good fight.
The idea of maybe Mike Tyson doing bare knuckle boxing, I was into that. I was down with that. The Mike Tyson Roy Jones thing got postponed to November, by the way. Not sure why. No reason given.
For real?
I mean, whatever. It's not a real fight. It's an exhibition. I don't buy that shit. I think that's dumb.
I think I read that they might even have headgear on.
Who?
Tyson and Roy Jones.
Headgear?
The commission wanted them. Yeah, the commission wanted them to have headgear, but it's not for the moment, there's no headgear, but I think they're trying to push that they have headgear on.
Who's going to buy a pay-per-view with two old guys wearing headgear? That's ridiculous. I'm not doing that.
Especially two former fighters, man.
Get out of here.
Come on,
I mean, people
ridiculous.
are gonna do it, but I don't. People are gonna watch. People are gonna buy it, but I just think it's kind of dumb.
Listen, all this boxing talk, and in the last couple of days, there's been more talks between Dana White and Mayweather trying to come up with some co-op fight. And I'm telling you, man, something is gonna happen. Something is going down by the end of the year. Something will happen. Will it be another Mayweather-Conor fight? Look, it's possible. But you know what? Something is going on, and I'm
All
telling
right.
you, man. Who cares about bare knuckles? Who cares
I don't
about
think
like the
anything's
nice
going to happen with Conor and Mayweather this year. I don't think that's going to happen. We were talking about DC and Stipe before. I think the winner fights John Jones for the heavyweight title, though. I think the winner defends against Jones. Jones has been quiet. The UFC's been quiet. I feel like if this were normal times, this would be one of those deals where John Jones was sitting front row in the pay-per-view, and you'd see John Jones, and after the fight, the camera would be on him, and he might even get into the octagon. I feel like John Jones is the next guy for DC. I don't think DC's really retiring. I think he'll fight Jones again. If Jones wants to do it, I think DC will do it. I retire on that if he beats Stipe. And I think if Stipe wins, yeah, John Jones. He'll take that money fight. That's big. So I think whoever wins is going to get John Jones. The UFC is going to figure it out. They have to. They have to do it. It's like a no-brainer, right? There's no other.
No, for sure.
Who else fight? I mean, I guess Ngannou could be up next at heavyweight, and yeah, sure, you could do that. But to me, John Jones is the big one, and Jones and Stipe or Jones DC, both those fights are big money fights.
Look, if there's going to be money fights, you throw out those names, and even like Brock Lesnar's name has been thrown into that. Into that. So you know what? Anything's possible. The only reason that Cormier is gonna, if he wins, he'll retire. We won't see him for a year. He'll come back to fight Jones, or he'll fight someone like Lesnar just for the money. Because the bottom line is, he'll always be regarded as a champion if he does win on Saturday.
Should be a good fight Saturday night, guys. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, Fred?
Look,
follow John Jones on Twitter, because that's where he's going to be doing his trash talk until Saturday.
Yes.
But if DC wins and it's not John Jones, DC retires, because DC doesn't need to fight Ngannou. That's not enough money for him to go fight. If DC has another fight after this weekend, it's John Jones.
I agree. I think it's John Jones.
What happened?
I don't know. There was a crash. You guys continue the show.
Did you pay the bills, man? What's happening? Listen. Look, John Jones, man.
Oh, wait a second.
He can. What happened? Did you just get rid of Freddie? What did he do?
No.
Feeling left out now.
Hold on. I'll be back. I just heard a crash.
Okay, well, Freddie, anyways, Dave, let's hope. Yeah, seriously, what the hell, man? Freddie, look, if it comes down to anything, John Jones wants this fight. He needs money. When's the last time he fought? It's been a while, right? If anybody could pull this off to come into heaven, what happened, Dave?
I don't know. I heard something crash, back there, and I was just making sure that nobody was hurt. I heard a crash, and then I heard silence. And when you hear that, you gotta check. All right, you gotta check.
And you have kids, AJ. You're gonna know
what are you talking about?
Where you're gonna hear a noise, and you're gonna go like, "That's my kid."
No. Listen, when you grow up in an Italian family, smashes and no noise and all that kind of shit is like a regular day, man. It's like a regular day. Sunday suppers don't end up without something breaking.
I want to give a shout out to Patrick C. Hamilton hitting us up once again on that super chat. We appreciate you so much, Patrick. Thank you for supporting the Ringside Report Network. You can support the Ringside Report Network by going to Stitcher Premium. Go to Stitcher.com. Trying to get my...
What happened, Dave? Are you okay today? What the hell is going on?
Trying to get my Stitcher read over here, but I had this thing on top of it. Look at this thing here, boys.
What is that?
Lego.
What is it, Mario Brothers?
Yeah, Lego Mario.
What? That's so cool, man.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I haven't built it yet. I'm saying it's for my son, but I mean, let's be honest. So at the Ringside Report Network, we've been making podcasts for about 15 years, and many of you have been using Stitcher to stream or download our shows, Wrestling Uncensored or Ringside Report MMA. Now Stitcher offering you, as part of the sponsorship of our work, a special offer on the premium version of their service. Besides all of our shows, you can listen to over 100,000 podcasts available on iPhone, Android, tablet, PC, Amazon Echo, all in your car, on demand, ad-free. They've got Stitcher Originals, bonus episodes, comedy albums, and more. Just $4.99 a month or $34.99 a year. But when you go to Stitcher.com/premium and you use the promo code Ringside, you get a free month when you sign up. Stitcher.com/premium. Use that promo code Ringside for a free month. Support the Ringside Report Network and listen to some great audio while you're at it.
You're so good, Dave, when you do these commercials.
Thanks, bro. I've been doing this for a while. So I want to talk about some Canadians doing well. I'm seeing people talk about the Canadians, not the Montreal Canadiens. I know that they're in the playoffs now. Did they win or lose yesterday, AJ?
They lost.
Oh, they did.
But you know what? Yeah. But you know what? I'm gonna tell you something. Like, you know what? We got to give it to Montreal. But you know what? It's going to be tough. Philadelphia
We got to give it to them.
Tough.
That's what AJ always says when people lose. We got to give it to them.
Everybody.
Yeah, he gives it to everybody. We got to give it to them. He just gives it.
You're the king of participation trophy, man. You give participation trophy to everybody.
Yeah.
AJ's what's wrong. AJ's wrong with the world, AJ.
AJ's like the Santa Claus of sports. You know, he gives it to everybody. He's giving. He's in a giving mood. Unbelievable. So you got to give it.
I like to be giving more, but it takes a little bit of Viagra. So go ahead, Dave.
You gotta give it to the Canadians, Canadian fighters that fought this week. Great to the Canadian fighters. First on Tuesday night, we saw TJ Laramie, a guy that we saw fight in TKO here in Montreal. He's from Windsor, Ontario. He picked up a UFC contract after a win on the Dana White Contender Series. A really nice win by Laramie. He smashed the guy that he was fighting a lot of good ground and pound there in the first round. Good punches to the ribs, and the guy on the stool, he couldn't continue. He could barely breathe. I think Laramie smashed something inside that guy's ribs or an organ. I don't know what happened, but Laramie is a tough kid, man. And nice to see a good Canadian guy, 22 years old, get a shot in the UFC. A guy that I've seen fight here in Montreal on the good TKO shows. And you're seeing so many of this TKO talent now compete internationally and getting some love and getting some big fights, getting some big wins. TJ Laramie is one of them. Yoann Lainesse, the White Lion. Oh boy!
Wow!
Yesterday at the CFFC 82, picking up a big knockout win in the first round, big uppercut. My goodness, man! Yoann Lainesse. When I saw him fight here in Montreal, I was like, yeah, this guy is pretty good. He's pretty serious. He's gonna be a problem, and yeah, he's good. And I liked seeing him win. He had a nice message to all his Montreal and Quebec fans after that. He had the great Lee Villeneuve in his corner. I know AJ was excited about that. He loves Lee. AJ has felt Lee on top of him many times, crushing him and destroying him because Lee is probably the toughest guy that you haven't heard about. You know, if you're around jiu-jitsu, you know, in Montreal, you know who Lee Villeneuve is. But if you're not and you just watch MMA, you might not know. But Lee Villeneuve is a badass, and the only reason he wasn't in the UFC and potentially a UFC champion is because people, you know, you got to build a record to get into the UFC, right? You got to win some fights, right? And Lee, the thing with Lee was, and I remember because Lee used to train at Gamma, right, which is my gym, right? So Lee was at Gamma, and I remember him having fight camps and preparing for these fights where he was maybe making, you know, $200, $300, $400, $500, right? Not making a ton for the fight, but he's getting the fight. And he's getting it for experience so he can build his record to 3-0, 4-0, 5-0, and eventually, you know, get enough fights under his belt that the UFC will take a look at him, right? But the problem was, guys kept pulling out of fights, events would cancel, and then he'd be spending all this money and all this time in a fight camp, not making money otherwise because he was a stuntman at the time, right? I don't know if he still is. I haven't kept in touch with Lee. I think he still is, right?
Yeah,
but like he would make so much money as a stuntman that it wasn't really worth it for him to take MMA fights and build his record. But at the same time, no one wanted to really fight him because everybody knew that he was a badass and he was going to beat everybody up. And I think he had 2 MMA fights. I was at one of them.
Yep.
I was at one of them. I might have been at both of them, but I remember one of them. He just destroyed a guy. It was like not even fair. It was like, oh my God, Lee's going to kill this guy. And then he killed him. And I was like, oh, Jesus. This Lee, man. Like, I remember thinking Lee could be the world champion. I remember when George was the champion, people said Lee might give him some problems. You know, like, if Lee gets there, he might give him some problems. Like, that's how good Lee was. So seeing Lee in Yoann Lainesse's corner was always cool. And I tweeted out, I was like, oh, that's Lee Villeneuve in his corner. He'd beat everybody up on this card, like, easily.
Yeah,
you know?
for
like,
sure.
He's that good, right? Crazy. And Lainesse, man, badass. And when you train with Lee, you're going to be really good, man. And he is. You know, he's really good.
But you brought up something about Lee and people not wanting to fight him. I think his biggest disappointment was on The Ultimate Fighter when it was the Canadian team. I think you needed 3 professional fights to be in that show, and Lee only had 2, and nobody wanted to fight him. Not only here, across Canada. I mean, the guy was the beast, and it's unfortunate, but he didn't get his fair share in the MMA world. Maybe there was politics involved or whatnot. But you know what? If he wasn't going to be the best fighter out there, he's definitely going to be one of the top MMA coaches out there in the future. Lee Villeneuve is a beast, so remember that name.
Yeah, he was a beast. He won both of his fights. First round submission. Second fight he won first round TKO. He was 2-0, and there was no reason why he couldn't have been on that season of The Ultimate Fighter. And if he was on that season, if he would have had it, like they should have made an exception because, like, MMA missed out on Lee Villeneuve. You know what I mean? Like he was that good that it's like, you know, there are guys out there that may be UFC world champions. They just never, you know, it just never worked out. They never got to the dance, one reason or another. And it's too bad, you know, because I was at both of his fights, Ringside MMA and MFL. And, yeah, jeez. Savage, that guy. Savage. And I'm sure he still is. I mean, how many jiu-jitsu championships, world championships has this guy won, right? How many?
Listen, he won the Abu Dhabi World Championship, okay, fighting the best fighters in the world. He smashed black belts as a brown belt, and he walked away and he got his black belt on the podium from Fabio, and it was incredible. You don't see that too often.
No,
but
Lee
he's a gem. He's a
special.
gem that was sort of like kind of, you know, we kind of lost him in the MMA side.
Yeah,
but he's there in coaching, man. So,
but in jiu-jitsu, for sure, a very accomplished career. You know, very accomplished in jiu-jitsu. But yeah, MMA, like he could have done a lot of stuff, man. He was awesome. Still is awesome. So props to him and Yoann Lainez, the White Lion, for getting the win. And our buddy James Mancini was in the main event. Unfortunately, suffered a loss there against a really tough guy. Santo Curatolo, I think the guy's name was. Yeah, really, really tough. You could tell that CFFC was kind of grooming that Curatolo guy. He had fought all of his professional fights in that promotion. He was undefeated, 25 years old. You know, he was definitely their guy, and he's got promise, man. You know, there's no shame. There's no shame in losing ever. There's no, you know, you go out there, you fight, and you know one guy's got to win and one guy's got to lose. It's just the way MMA works. And I think this guy Curatolo is going to be a serious fighter in the game. You know, he looks like he's got some real good skills. And if you could do that to James, you know, the way he did, I mean, the guy's obviously very good. So, you know, I was sad for James. I hope James is all right. I know you sent him a message, and you know, send him our support. You know, it's not easy. It's not easy going through that, and you know, just physically, you know, getting hit like that and going down. It's too bad. It's too bad. But you know, James Mancini, always a buddy, always a friend of the Ringside Report Network, and we support James Mancini forever. So happy to see James, you know, back in action, and you know, whether he fights again or whatever, you know, we'll always support him. So I like James Mancini. He's a good man. You know, he's a good man, and it's sad when you see good guys like that suffer a professional setback. You know, you want to see him have all the success in the world. So I know he's got a you know, he's very busy. He does a lot of different things. I know he does stand-up comedy, and you know, you follow him on Instagram. You know, Boom Boom Mancini's all over the place. So shout out to James Mancini, and you know, stay up. You will definitely you know, you're a savage forever. So got our respect forever. For real. Okay. James Mancini, respect. He would smash Logan Paul in this competition. Woo! So, like, James Mancini is like an Olympic level wrestler, right? He represented Italy, right, in the Olympics. Did he not?
Well, he went to Italy, but yeah, he was. I think he was representing. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, remember, he was part of the Commonwealth here in Canada.
Yeah, he's very accomplished. Let's say he's a very accomplished amateur wrestler, and Logan Paul is offering $10,000 to any influencer that could beat him in a wrestling match. I don't really know what that means, but a lot of MMA fighters, Ben Askren, all sorts of people, and pro wrestlers have been answering the challenge. I'd answer the challenge. I think he might beat me in a wrestling match, though. I think he's got like a good collegiate wrestling background. Yes. He looks pretty jacked. Like I'm a decent wrestler. I might beat him, but yeah, I'd say he might beat me too. So I don't know. I would take the challenge though. I would take it. You know, if I get $10,000 if I win, do I get anything if I lose? Like, that would suck. That'd be kind of embarrassing to lose to that guy. So I'd rather not do it just because, like, if you lose and you get nothing and then you're embarrassed on YouTube, like, that sucks, man. I don't want that to happen to me. I think I could probably.
Great
I think
promo for the show, though.
I think I'd tap him.
Exactly.
I think I'd tap him. How about that? If we make it a submission grappling match, okay? It's not like a straight up wrestling match. I don't want to have to pin him. I don't want to do all that shit. No. But if it's a submission grappling match, I think I beat Logan Paul. I think I do for sure.
So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna
I was rolling today.
Pumping
AJ.
the hype.
I was rolling today, and it felt good. I felt good.
So why don't you do this? I'm gonna start pushing Logan to fight you, and we'll get James to coach you, man. This will be awesome, man. Wouldn't that be awesome?
If James is coaching me, I might win. Although I don't know. I don't really want to do wrestling training with. I don't want to prepare for a big match right now because I would need different looks. I would need to wrestle with a bunch of different guys, and I'm not getting close to any number of different men during this pandemic. So, unfortunately, I'm not comfortable training with a bunch of people right now.
Look,
I'm just not.
Most people. Look, maybe most of our fans don't know who Logan Paul is, but all these YouTubers, like my nephews at a certain age, all know this guy. And you know what? The guy has pulled out like numbers when he did his boxing match on YouTube, and he had over 2.5 million subscribers. Yeah. This guy filled out an arena of 30,000 people. So does he have the money? Yes. Are people wanting to watch him? Yes. Are people going to watch him wrestle? I think it would have been much better if it was an MMA fight, to see Logan Paul fight in an MMA fight. I think it would have probably brought more interest. But you know what? Wrestling, man, you know what? What have you got to lose? You're an influencer. You're Dave Simon of Ringside Report.
He's pretty big, though. He's 6'2", 190 pounds. Like, he's pretty big.
Yeah, he's a big guy. He's a big boy. There's no doubt.
I don't know, man. I think I'd have problems. And AJ, Fred was saying before that I might be the best wrestler on the show. AJ might be the best wrestler on the show. Let's throw AJ at him. Let's just make AJ do it.
Why don't we just
I'm trying to take the pressure off me.
Why don't we send Lee Villeneuve his way? Because he is an accomplished guy. And I can assure you this, odds maker, put your money on Lee because someone's going to the hospital.
But that's not fair for Logan Paul, like, obviously.
That's like Ben Askren's that's going after him. I'm like, Askren's is like, I only need a minute. I'm like, a minute? That would be a win for Paul if he lasts a minute against Ben Askren.
But it'd be so funny, man. It'd be awesome. But
although the last wrestling match I saw Ben Askren in, he got fucking dominated. He got embarrassed. The last wrestling match that I saw Ben Askren wrestle, it was against Jordan Burroughs, and Jordan Burroughs smashed him to pieces. That was awesome. Remember that? That was great.
But that's Jordan Burroughs, man.
Put Jordan Burroughs up against the Logan Paul.
Tie one hand behind his back. He's still going to win, man. Holy smokes. That Jordan is ridiculous.
You know what's crazy is that people beat Jordan Burroughs in wrestling. That's what's the craziest part. It's like Ben Askren is a great wrestler. Jordan Burroughs made him look like shit. But then sometimes Jordan Burroughs loses matches, and you're like, what? The levels to this game, man. Especially in wrestling. Ridiculous.
Well, even more so now, because with the amount of talent and young kids starting at a much younger age with like top quality coaches and trainers and sparring partners, man, the game has gone up. It's like jiu-jitsu now. Like, if you look at guys that are white belt, you'll be like, what's a white belt? It's nothing. But in jiu-jitsu, a white belt could be extremely dangerous and could pretty much fuck you up. And in wrestling, it's the same thing, man. When you're doing, like, combative sports that actually have, like, time on the mat, or boxers that have time in the ring, man, it's a different game, man. You look at some of these kids that are boxing. I'm looking at them at 6, 7 years old. And, man, their combinations make me look so bad. It's like, I'm looking at them, I'm like, what the hell is this? You know? It's ridiculous.
Give it to them.
It's a different. You got to give it to them.
You got to give it to them, man.
You got to give it to them. And we will give it to you. We will give it to you once again this Saturday night, 10 p.m. for the live UFC 252 watch along. We thank everybody for watching tonight. Thank you especially goes to Patrick C. Hamilton for hitting us on that super chat. We appreciate you supporting the Ringside Report Network. Go support our sponsors, Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com. Use that promo code Ringside20 for 20% off your order plus free shipping. Go to IPVanish. Protect yourself on the internet. VPN.ringsidereport.net. And, of course, Stitcher Premium. Go to Stitcher.com/premium. Use that promo code Ringside for a free month of Stitcher Premium. And that's all you need to know. Follow AJ at Danny Brook on all the things. Follow Freddie at Freddie MMA. Follow me at Dave Simon MMA. RingsideReport.net is our website. Like this video. When you do, subscribe to the channel and click the bell so you get notifications every time we're on, like we will be on this Saturday night, 10 p.m. for the UFC 252 watch along. For AJ and Freddie, I'm Dave, and this has been Ringside.
Logan Paul.
Go Astros.
Astros. That's it. World champions.
Yankees. Report. I push the buttons here.
No, man.
I could push the buttons here. I end the show, and I'm ending it on Yankees. Goodbye, Yankees.